Welcome to Papillion Unscripted. I'm Michael Severe. Welcome. We are, of course, the place to go to hear from people who truly help Papillion feel like home. Joining us now is a man who's been a part of the soccer community for this entire century. Jay Mims joining us from Union, Omaha. You started in '01, right? So the whole century, you've pretty much been here.
Make me feel old now, but yeah, thanks for having me, Michael. I appreciate it.
We appreciate you taking the time. I've never asked you this question. What kind of soccer player were you? You were a midfielder, right?
I was a midfielder. Very busy soccer player.
Yeah.
Very busy, very competitive, savvy. Yeah, it was very fit. But yeah, I played a couple different positions. But I would say, yeah, it kind of relates to the players you want to recruit. You know,
Yeah.
I like players that are busy. I like players that are intelligent. I like players that are competitive and are fit. So kind of usually you watch a coach's team play, and it usually resembles the coach if that's how it's, you know, if it's done in a good way. And so that's how I kind of, you know, you start your basis there, and then you obviously get attracted to other things along the way.
You play a little pro soccer too. That helps you relate.
I
with other
did,
guys?
like for a cup of coffee. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. What league was that?
So it would have been called the USL. I guess it would have been the league
you
we're
are now?
playing in right now.
Right.
It's called the A-League.
Oh, okay.
Did that for a couple seasons, and yeah, so it was a lot more teams, and same thing. It was hard. MLS at the time they just started MLS. I think maybe in '96 MLS had started, and then we had got playing in '99 professionally, and it was hard to make an MLS team. I think there were 8 teams, and it was like 20 roster spots, and that was it. So most college players went to the A-League. There were about 32 teams, and that's where you had to kind of make a living and grind your way to try to get to the top of MLS. And then obviously certainly now with the opportunities that are out there, it's amazing. MLS approaching 30 teams, and the USL, and you know, approaching 50 teams. So there's a lot more opportunities now for players, for coaches, which is great for our sport.
So when you were done playing, at what point did you say to yourself, coaching is what I want to do?
You know, it's a funny story. I left school early to play professionally, so I had a semester, about a little under a semester left to finish college, and so I called my my former coach back and said, hey, you know, I'm in between seasons here. Can I come back and take some courses and you know, help out how I can for a scholarship, whatever that may look like? And I was invited back for called an undergraduate assistant for about 3 months in our off season to finish my courses. And that's what my part of my role as an undergraduate assistant was to coach. And so I kind of got into that in those 3 months, and I kind of said, you know what, this is pretty cool. A little bit of both worlds of you know, the A-League back in the day. It was, you were playing Friday night and Saturday night. It was back-to-back nights, and the season was shorter. It was 6 months. The money wasn't great, and so then you have to go play indoor. So it was outdoor, indoor, outdoor, indoor.
Wow.
It was a grind, and then getting a taste of coaching and you know, finishing my degree. That was kind of my first, probably, you know, first stint into it, and I kind of liked it. And then I got a call not too long after that from Bob Warming, and said he was going to move from St. Louis to Creighton. Would I be interested? And kind of the rest is history.
Would you consider him a mentor? I mean, you
For sure.
coached under for so long.
Yeah, mentor, friend, like a dad. My dad died when I was pretty young, and so he's been great. You know, he's given me a lot of opportunity to be successful, and yeah, he's amazing. He's a great person. He's kind of done a bit of everything, but I would say, yeah, it first started kind of with him giving me this opportunity to come back to Creighton here to coach.
What were those 9 years when you look back on them? What did you think you learned most about soccer and about life?
Yeah, soccer was it was good because it was a good level. Obviously, it was a top 10 team Creighton soccer program. So and I was familiar with a college program, and coming from St. Louis University, and so the soccer part was good. And it was a balance, right? I was younger. I was probably 25, 26 years old, and you're coaching 18, 19-year-olds, so you have to have that right balance of the guys trust you, but you're not one of the guys. And so I think that was always going to be a challenge early on with some of the players, but that worked out great. And then as far as off the field, it was great. It was Creighton, it was the Missouri Valley days. It was Rasmussen, Dana Altman, Bob. We had so many great people there, and just wonderful people. And it was we were a family, and it was tight. And obviously, as things grow and athletic departments get bigger and bigger, and a lot more people come, it changed. And then obviously the Big East and came along. We just left before the Big East, but I would say it was a really great feeling in the athletic department of just you were wearing 8 different hats, and everybody was working from had a role off the field, on the field. And I would say it was a really back on 24th Street in the old gym, and it was the West Gym, and it was a great place. And then things got bigger, and obviously more business and more politics, and probably wasn't as fun from that aspect, but back then I would always remember just how close the athletic department was.
Yeah, so when you're an assistant, obviously your goal is to become a head coach. Someone comes to you with a job, that's awesome, but you got to start your own program at UNO. What was the decision like to take that job?
Yeah, it was hard because I was definitely like you said. I think every assistant coach probably wants to be a head coach at some point, and I think I was ambitious, but I had such a great boss in Bob. Like he let me do everything, and like a lot of assistants don't get the responsibility that I had at a young age. So I mean, if I wanted to train the team today, I train the team. If I wanted to do all of the recruiting, Jay, get on the road and do all the recruiting. If I want to do the scheduling and the RPI, and let's figure out a master schedule and how we can, get these at-large bids. If we don't win, Jay, take care of scheduling and just, business-wise, raising money, whatever it may be. He just gave me kind of free reign on, and a lot of, and I at the time I thought that was normal. I was like, this is everyone has that. But then talking to colleagues, it's like no, like we don't get to do a lot of this stuff. And so I never really looked for. I got a couple of phone calls during my time at Creighton, but I never really pursued anything. And then obviously I went to Penn State with Bob when Bob had left to pursue another opportunity, and then that's when I got the call from Trev to say hey. And obviously my first thought was asking Bob what he thought, and he said, Jay, there's not a lot of head coaching jobs out there, and you get to go back to a city that you love and you care for. Trev obviously was a former athlete. Mike Kemp was a former Division I hockey coach, and he's overseeing stuff. That's important that you're working with people, administrators that have a background in athletics. And he said, I think you really got to take a look at it, and I think you'd be crazy not to do it if you feel comfortable. And so that was kind of it. Met Trev and Mike for a couple of days, and I was like, yep, this is going to be great. Yeah,
you went from Ras, who was a women's basketball coach, to being a hockey coach and a football player. That's pretty good for administration.
Incredible.
They knew what they were doing.
Incredible. That's what you want. Coaches want to feel like someone's been, in that position, and they understand what it's like when you're in the day-to-day grind of it, and operationally, and good days and bad days. And when you have people that have been through that as an athlete or as a coach, it's so it just gives you confidence, and you just feel the support. So I think that is important. Not that you can't have that, not have that background and be successful, but I think having that just makes coaches feel good about themselves.
Did you feel you accomplished? I know you didn't win a national championship, obviously, at Omaha, but do you feel like you accomplished what you wanted by building the program and getting where it was?
I did. I think it was a long, 6-7 years. Those first 4 years you have to sit out, and that was hard for a lot of coaches as far as in not being postseason eligible. And you got to remember, I was coming in as a Division I background, Division I coach, where the whole athletic department was Division II, and so Trev kind of leaned on me a lot of like, hey, like these coaches, you can teach some of these coaches stuff of the difference of Division I, Division II, and so I definitely was able to teach a lot of those coaches a lot of things about Division I, and I felt good about that. But I also learned a lot from them of the Division II. It was hard for them. Like these division, they were winning national championships at the Division II level. I mean, the soccer was winning, softball was winning. Then to go from that to we can't win a game in Division I think it was hard, and that's where I kind of came in and could at least share the balance and help and talk about recruiting and the differences and things like that. And so I think it was a hard transition those first 4 or 5 years. But then we got through it, which was awesome. We got a facility back on campus at Caniglia, kind of reformed that to a soccer.
That place rocked, man.
Yeah,
when
it's a
cool
cool place.
Packed, it was packed.
It's a neat place. It's a historic place. Obviously, a lot of history with on campus and football. It's just it's very nostalgic. Like it just feels good when you're down there. And so once we got playing there, it was a different feeling. We got obviously eligible. We won the conference several times. We got to the NCAA tournament. It was like we were getting people at the games, and we were turning the corner, and then that's when I got an opportunity to leave. I would say if I stayed, we had unfinished business and stuff that we'd want to keep on going and growing, but I was at least at that point, proud of what we had accomplished.
Yeah, if you ever want to start a conversation that just continues to go, you talk to somebody who's a soccer fan about USA soccer development and what needs to be done at the lowest levels. And you've been in the middle of that. What needs to be done? How can we get U.S. soccer to be as competitive as the women's soccer is?
Yeah, I think we've had so many changes in the last 20 years, and I know the non-soccer people are sick of hearing, oh, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. It really is. It has arrived. I mean, the talent now of American soccer players that are 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, it's not close to what it was 15 years ago, 20 years ago. I mean, there's some exceptions. Obviously, you've had some great players in the past, but like we have so many players that are playing in the first division in Europe right now. We have so many players playing in the Premier League. We have so many players playing in just across Europe, and that was unheard of. And now it's not just one name or two. it used to be just a goalkeeper, you know,
Right.
a second goalkeeper, but now people are looking at Americans. I mean, and now the true sign of that is, I mean, players are being bought for 40, 50, 60 million dollars. And in
Wow.
soccer, it's a little bit different than other sports where you get bought. But these American players that developed in America, I think Philadelphia Union MLS just sold a couple of players for over, you know, close to 40, 50 million dollars to Leeds in the Premier League, and a kid that was raised in Philadelphia. And so it is changing. We are good, and I think that the next step now is just, you know, getting those guys together and proving that, yeah, we can win at this level. So the World Cup, I think this World Cup here in November will be big for the U.S. to kind of, because now we do have talent.
Tough draw.
It is a tough draw, but there's no easy draw, right? There's no easy draw, but it is. We have so much talent. I mean, and we've had guys that are grinders and workers, you know, sprinkled in with a couple of talented guys, which sometimes that's a great recipe for success. You get too much talent and, you know, and not enough people working hard, then it's like, okay. And so I think the U.S. has got to figure out managing now. How do we manage this guy from Chelsea, this guy from Leeds, this guy from Liverpool, this guy? And I think it's putting all that together but also knowing that there are American players playing MLS. So I think it's just the coach finding the right balance of players that are playing in Europe, players that are playing MLS. What's the right answer? And right now the answer is it's both. Like you can't just say, well, you got to go to Europe. I think Klinsmann was a big go to Europe.
Right.
But then people go to Europe, you don't play a lot. And people are like, well, you're better off playing MLS and play every minute. And so I think it's finding that balance. Well, then we'll see the results of, okay, U.S. is a powerhouse now. But we also will never change up. There's always going to be football. There's always going to be basketball. There's always going to be baseball. There's going to be hockey. So I don't think we'll ever truly always get the best athletes because we do have so many sports. I think if anything will change, it'll be other countries are picking up these sports. Basketball is getting so much more popular in Europe.
Yeah.
You look at the draft now in NBA, it's like all these Europeans are playing now, and like other sports are starting to get over there. And so I think what will change is they'll have less picks at some of these athletes. I think it'll just balance itself out, and that will help the U.S.
Yeah, I'm taking a guess if LeBron would have been a goalie. He'd been a pretty good keeper.
I think he'd be pretty good center forward, pretty good goalkeeper.
Wherever you put him.
Yeah, he's an incredible athlete. And so I think we'll see more of that, but it's still, you know, our sports are still these sports in America.
So you get the phone call. Was it a phone call, an email about Union Omaha? How did that happen? You're coaching the 18 and 19-year-olds, the developmental guys, and what happened? Yeah,
I was in Real Salt Lake and been there for a couple of years and was coaching the academy kids, and I was director of scouting for the club, and I was doing a little bit of everything, assistant coach for the USL team, which is the reserve team at that level. So I was kind of doing a little bit of everything, and it was, you know, having a great time. And then, I got hooked up with Gary. You know, Gary Green kept on, you know, reaching out and asking about soccer Omaha questions. He's like, well, I heard if I need to talk about soccer in Omaha, you're the guy to talk to. And I said, well, I can help you in any way. And he started, you know, with one phone call turned another phone call, and eventually I'm like, Gary, like
he's persistent.
Like Gary, I'm not getting paid as a consultant right now. I want to see Omaha soccer do well, but like I'm working here. Well, would you ever be interested in coming here to work? And I said, well, yeah, but you haven't asked me that yet. And so he's like, let me fly you out to New York, and flew out to New York and met a couple of his business partners, and we sat down, had lunch for 3-4 hours, and I flew back, and then a week later there was an offer, and I think it was an easy choice for me to come back because starting something again, which is I like building and starting, and then at a higher level, it was another great challenge, and I like challenges.
What's the biggest key to that, starting from the beginning? I know you have to get great players, obviously, but there's a whole infrastructure that needs to be built to have a team.
I think, I love the word and I hate the word culture. It's overused, and I think culture is just how you behave and it being held accountable. And I think that was the biggest thing when you're starting a business, starting a corporation. Just everyone can put out your core values and say, oh, we believe in this, we believe in that, we believe in this, and that's great. And everyone can put these presentations out, but but are you following them? Are you doing them? What are examples of it? Are you holding people accountable? I think that was the hardest part, because we had some talented guys probably early at UNO, but they weren't. It wasn't for them. Whether it was academics, they weren't taking classes seriously. If it was socially, it was just too much to do down, exorbitant, whatever it may be. We had to get the right guys that were like, hey, I can't take a chance on. We got to have guys that are committed, like, on the field, off the field. And so that was the biggest lesson. Is like you can see this diamond out here, and this, oh man, you get attracted to it, but if he doesn't fit the way you want to do things, you can't take them. And I think pro level is no different. Like, there's a lot of agents, there's a lot of people calling you, and there's a lot of players that want to play for you. But it's just picking. There's a lot of talent, but it's picking the right characteristics that fit your core values, off the field and on the field. But also, to your earlier point about what do you like in a player. And so you have to have a game model of like, what do you do? How are you going to play? And they have to fit that. So it's a little bit different, I think, than some sports, where some sports you just take the best players and we'll figure it out. Where soccer, it's a little bit more, it's more difficult than that. They have to really fit. Someone that could be a really, really good player may not fit into our team, and he plays our rival team, and he's really, really good. And people look like, well, why didn't you keep him? He doesn't fit in our system. So I think as long as you can get that right and get the off-the-field stuff right, I think you can be successful.
Year one, during COVID, you get to the final game. Obviously, that gets taken away from you because of COVID. Second year, still kind of in a pandemic. You win the title. Third year, I mean, what do you do to follow up on that?
Well, the Open Cup run.
The US Cup, definitely.
Get to the fifth round.
Yeah,
it was amazing. We're 2 games away from winning another trophy, so the run was spectacular.
That's as far as a USL level team had ever gone.
Our league, obviously, our league's only been around a little bit, but that's the furthest we've ever gone. First time a team's ever beat an MLS team, then we beat a second MLS team. So it was it was a big run. For us, and so our guys were ecstatic about that. And guys last year were a little bit upset because we got canceled, and they're like, man, we want to go on that run. And so this new group got to experience that, which is great, because it is a new group. It's a brand new group. A lot of guys fresh out of college, very naive, very green, very hungry, and to have them have that success, I think, was great. And I think that will help us in the back end of this long season.
How are your team kind of part of the city? Not just Papillion, but the whole city, because you mentioned before we came on, you practice all over the place, guys live in different places. How do you feel the city has kind of adopted you guys?
I think this Open Cup run has, really helped. Obviously 3 years ago we started, and we got a name, a brand, a crest, and I think it was cool for that year. And I think the soccer people came out. But I think over time, right, I think we've been here, and I think it's the non-soccer person, the person in the community that maybe is not a sports person. This Open Cup run has helped us. We've been in the media a lot. We've been in the news a lot. And I think it's opening some people of like, oh, okay, we do have a pro soccer team here. What's the name of it? Oh, this is the name of it, Union Omaha. What's our crest like? Okay. I think and COVID was tricky with getting guys in the community and doing things. But I think this year now we have 6 or 7 clinics that are out there and all over North Omaha, South Omaha, Council Bluffs, Lincoln, West Omaha, everywhere. So we're getting our players out there. I think there's different corporations that are stepping up from different parts of town that are trying to be involved and help us. And I think just people coming to a game, getting out to Warner Park and actually coming to a game and experiencing it and seeing our guys, I think really helps them, because they see our guys, and win or lose after the game, the guys are signing autographs, they're spending time with kids, they're spending time with adults. Before the game, there's chit-chat, and I think people realize, man, these guys are good guys. And that's what you got to do. It's our responsibility to make sure we can get fans to come out and that we are in the community. And like you mentioned, we're practicing, kind of all over the place, and guys we're living in a different area down in Midtown. So we're trying to get everywhere, and I think eventually, it takes a little bit of time, but you are starting to see a growth of our fan base. You're
practicing over at the Landing, which has been around about as long as the team has. What's that like?
Amazing. What an amazing facility, Papillion Landing, great rec center, great facility. Such nice people. We're fortunate to be over there. I think we like that. And then at the down the street there at 144th and Giles, the Omaha Sports Complex is nice. And it's been great. And then obviously at Warner Park, right down the street here in Papillion. So it's been a great little community for us to train at and to play at.
I only know you as coach. What's your hobbies? What do you do for fun when you're not working or getting the team ready? What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't get to golf enough. We're gonna try to get in 9 holes today and go golf. So I do
nice.
Yeah, I do like golfing. I used to read a lot more. I don't read as much as I used to, as I want to. I need to read more. It's soccer. I'm watching. If it's ESPN Plus has ruined me.
It's so hard, man. Soccer's everywhere. It's all the different networks.
It is. Yeah. And now you saw the Apple just, a big deal with MLS and, a couple $1 billion. And it's like, it's always on. And I like it. And thankfully, I have a supportive family that they've grown to like it.
Grown to like it.
Yeah. So, I would say, soccer is probably most of it is most of my time. Yeah.
Yeah. Last question. We're talking before we came on. You played fewer games than some of the other teams in the league, but you're playing pretty well. You feel that you guys have enough space to be able to make another run?
Yeah, we do. I think this was, the Open Cup was good and bad. It was good for us because we got 5 different games in against incredible competition, way above us, and won a lot of those games. And it got, just really, really important experience for our players that are so young. And so to get those extra games is an amazing evaluation tool for the players, for the coaches, for everybody. And because we did well, it gave them confidence. The downside of that is we're going to have to squeeze in now because we've rescheduled some different games, and now we're trying to play all these games in at once towards the end here. And so we got to have depth, and we got to probably sign some more guys and just make sure that we have enough depth and, knock on wood, have don't get injuries. But yeah, I think we're in a good spot. We're in the top, towards the top of the table right now, and we've played less games than everybody else. But these games are going to start coming here pretty soon.
Yeah.
So a lot of home games. So hopefully people can get out there to Winter Park.
No doubt about that. Coach, we appreciate it.
Michael, thank you so much.
Thanks for taking the time. I really appreciate
you
coming in.
Thank you.
Join us again next time, and again, we speak with someone who makes Papillion feel like home.